So if you remember last stream, I talked about a move up, right? So we traded at 40. I said, okay, this seems to be our range low here. I wanted to see a move towards 44-ish and then potentially a lower high. I talked about blowing out kind of all of these highs here, maybe coming up into that breaker there and then selling off. And that's basically what we got here. So, if I just delete this, we had that exact move come out, right? Took this out, just barely. Didn't quite come up into the breaker, but got the sweep, put in a bearish trigger, and so I got short. I took this short yesterday. So I ended up TPing some at 2R here, came all the way back to my entry here, sold right back off though. We're seeing the traditional market start to look quite heavy now. So we kind of had you prepared there. I said this is a potential option. I told you guys I was still kind of thinking, and I posted on Twitter yesterday, I'm like, this kind of looks distributive to me. This price action here where we took out the high and then we broke below the lows here, I'm like, okay, this looks like any sort of retrace, I think is a sell for now lower low. I think we had a lot of froth coming into this moment. You look at the timeline, everyone's screaming at you that the ETF was sending us to all-time highs. Meme coin galore, just everything that you kind of see in terms of froth, but it also didn't feel like there's any new money really coming in. I know we have these ETF inflows, right? But just seemed like that narrative already kind of played out. And I talked about this, countless times in previous streams, through this entire move up. It's like, to me, that was the pricing in of that ETF news. I think long-term ETF news up and to the right, but I think short-term, I still think we can see some lower prices. So I remain by that bias that, I think this is distribution here. And I think we do get one more leg. And I think it will probably be an aggressive one because you have accumulation, you have manipulation, and then you have distribution. And the distribution leg should be decently strong. So I do think we still will get that kind of strong leg where we get some displacement to the downside and then a bottom will form. I don't see this personally. And again, this is pure speculation. And this is purely my opinion. I could be completely wrong, right? Always keep that in mind. But I do think that we will get a displacement leg down here that will be kind of strong. I don't know how low it goes. Maybe it goes to 34, 35, 36, 37. But I do not think this is the low that is going to send us to a new high, personally. I think this structure is distributive. I think this ends with one more leg lower. I think we probably blow out some of these lows. 34 to 37K, in my opinion, is probably where it bottoms. And then, yeah, I would be looking to be a buyer. I'd be looking to buy Bitcoin. I'd be looking to buy Solana. I'd be looking to buy Ethereum. I'd be looking to buy things like TIA, Injective, all the coins that, were so strong during this rally. I'm going to want to be making bets that those coins remain strong and that they continue to do well and they continue to perform. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on any sort of, big sell-off here. That's what I'm looking for. I've been saying this for the entire month. I thought 48 to 50K was the top. Wasn't quite right on the rotation into Ethereum, but in terms of timing the top with the ETF announcement, it's been the same song and dance for me for the last entire month plus, and we're just seeing that continue to play out. There was opportunities to short up here, and there's been opportunities to short this bounce. I laid it out in stream last week. I said, I bet you we run out all these highs, and you can look here. We didn't quite come up into the breaker, but you do have a nice fair value gap here. So we came into the fair value gap, and then we have an H12 sweep. So bearish fair value gap, H12 sweep, you zoom into your hourly time frame, H1 SFP, H1 trigger, break in market structure. All of the ingredients in your little entry fractal are right here. Laid all of this out in advance for you guys. Laid all of this out in Telegram, in the Haven, stop entry target. So not much else to do but to be patient now. So what we're looking at here, and I'm in this short and it looks like it's going to leg down again here. Which is great, is where does this go to? So, I definitely think these 12-hour lows here for this short are the target down into these lows here. But ultimately, right, where's that low form? I talked about these potential lows here, but we also have December's range, right? And I posted a chart about this, I don't even know how long ago, on Twitter. I said, this reminds me of June's range. Run the range high, trade to the range low. That's all it is. Where's June's range? Right here. Run the range high, trade to the range low. The bottom forms, we go up from there. So I'm looking for something quite similar to potentially play out here. And I'm going to be using December's range in the exact same fashion that I used June's range to catch the low before the move to 48, 49K. We longed this move based on the run of the range low. So if we get something similar here, so we get one more sell off and then we deviate this low, to me, any sort of reclaim of December's low here is going to be a big time long signal. So if we trade below December's low, I don't know how low, right? I don't know how far below we go. Maybe we go just a little bit, maybe we go quite a bit, but a very easy long will be a reclaim of December's range low. So if you're saying, hey, I don't know when the bottom's going to form, I don't want to try and knife catch the bottom, to me, a very risk adjusted way to get long is to say, okay, we've sold off here. We ran the high, we ran the low, and now we're back inside. To me, this gives you a very clear setup because wherever we trade below here and then reclaim, this is your entry and the deviation is your risk. Just like here, when we traded above, as soon as we start trading back in the range, your risk is the deviation outside, right? And this happened here, right? The risk was the deviation. The risk was the deviation. Look at how our all-time high got formed. To me, the structure that we have right now is kind of similar to this, but as soon as we deviated outside of the range and back in, you're selling, your stop is there. Same thing back here. Deviate, back inside, there's your retest, your risk. So we'll be looking for the inverse of that to happen. And again, it happened here. Deviation. Once we're back inside, you know your risk is there. Worst case scenario. So I'm looking for that to happen at the range low of December. So I would like to see another sell off, and then I'd like to see a deviation of this low here. I don't know how low it is. Maybe it runs all of these. Maybe it goes way lower. I don't know. But if we get some sort of move down here and a reclaim, to me, that's a very straightforward long setup that I'll be taking. Absolutely. So I am short right now. I took this on a breakout challenge account as well. I already closed half of it here. So I'm going to be trading this account and I'm recording videos as I take trades on it. And I'm going to trade it through evaluation phase 1 and phase 2. So you guys can see how that works. But I took the same short. I shorted 3.5 Bitcoin. I closed half of it earlier today and I've got half of it riding for hopefully lower prices. So I'll release that video when it's ready. Could we get another leg up from here? What's the potential bullish scenario? Because I think I've explained the bearish scenario enough. Now, a couple things to say. One more bearish potential here. We could still have, so we already swept here, kind of selling off. We could have another move up and then a sell off, right? Like this could be another higher low here. We could have one more leg up. I still think ultimately though, we're trading down to here. So whether this is the lower high, high, low, lower high, eventual lower low, or we get one more push and then the lower highs here, I still think it is exactly that. I think it's going to be a lower high. Again, if we get another move up here, I'll be looking for signs to fade, right? I'll be looking for market structure shifts, SFPs, things like that. Now, where is this bearish thesis wrong? In my opinion, if we start trading above December's high and holding, right? So anything that's not just up here and quickly in and out, I think is probably the invalidation of my thesis. So if we start trading above 46, 45, 46, maybe even 47K. So we're trading up here and we're holding. Well, then I think, sure, I'm back on Team Bull. I was wrong and we're going up and I'm going to look to long dips again and target, 50K and higher. If we're going to go up, then you got to target up here at 52. Then the next target really is near all-time high. So I think the invalidation would be acceptance and strength above December's range high is where I think the shorts are probably no longer the right trade. But I think until then, I think another pop even, I think any sort of moves up are still for shorting. If the lower high is not already in, I think another pop is still a lower high. And that thesis where I'm short biased is invalidated on acceptance and strength above December's high. And really, we need to see strength in the stock market because if the stock market is going to start to pull back significantly now, after breaking its all-time high. Now, all of a sudden, the macro conditions are looking a little bit dicier. We're not getting these rate cuts. Less likely, I think, that, we're going to continue to go up. So I'm bearish for now. I've got a very clear plan on what would make me change my mind. Otherwise, I'm hoping to long this lower. I'm hoping to long and maybe buy some more spot, sub 40K, 37, 38, 35, 34, anywhere in that kind of area. below December's lows and maybe wiping out some of this is my preference. You know, if you want signs of euphoria, froth, you want to know what that stuff looks like, go look at your timeline back here. Go look at the stuff people have been saying this entire time about bears and about how high we're going to go. And even in this bounce, right? If this ends up being the lower high, there's some amazing fucking tweets that I, of course, screenshotted, but I will never share because I'm not that petty anymore, of people being like, you know, you're a fucking idiot if you're a fucking bear, and told you that was the bottom. And maybe they're right. Right? Maybe we are going to go up and this was the V bottom, and it's all fun to, you know, sentiment post and that kind of stuff. But if you're wanting to add that type of analysis into your trading, and I don't think it's necessary, but I think it's important to be able to identify, you know, signs of froth and things like that. You know, go look at crypto Twitter, you know, here and what was going on and types of things that were being said and thrown around, and make note of it. When you start to see that stuff again, it doesn't mean short and it's fucking over, because guess what? We had crazy bull posting and froth through a lot of this. But when that frothiness lines up with technical analysis, like where, hey, yeah, we're actually looking a little bearish here based on TA, that's when that type of analysis, in my opinion, can be useful. But yeah, I'd like this thing to fucking just roll over. You know, the weekly candle didn't break market structure. So that's, you know, good news, right? We've got a bullish SFP here on the weekly, technically. The monthly close, right? To me, you know, that's a monthly SFP, obviously, right there. So, you know, that's probably one of the more bearish looking monthly candles we've had in a while. We ran this monthly high and we've left a flat monthly low here, right? So the low of this candle is 37,612.8, right? And the open is 37,727.4. So it's not quite a flat bottom, but it sure fucking looks like one. And if I'm just looking at the monthly, I say, okay, we took out December's high, right? Go back to that range. Where's the target? December's low. So that kind of adds to my thesis as well. But again, this is all my opinion. I 100% could be wrong. I'm risking my own money, not yours. Whatever you want to fucking do, it's totally up to you. I'm just some crazy guy on the internet, right? Okay, let's look at Ethereum. I had a long here on Ethereum. Pretty straightforward. H12 range, right? Low, high to low, and an H12 sweep. Go down. You have your H1 trigger, breaker block, market structure break, fair value gap, all the good stuff right there with your stop at the low. I had a target of 2350. Again, I took this one in the Haven. I closed it early because I was in Mexico. Didn't really want to hold a trade going into the weekend, but we got a little scam pump. Would have hit full target, but pretty straightforward setup there. Then yeah, I mean, we had a pop on Ethereum BTC. You know, I'd still love for us to bottom in this area. I don't know if we're going to. It's still quite weak. You know, we had the big sweep, we had the big candle, and then the market structure shift, but we need to see something constructive here, right? So as soon as we put in this high, right? I mean, a great short would have been Ethereum BTC, right? This would have been a great short over the last week. So we had this H12 sweep, you had a clear draw back into the order block. You know, we've just been down only in here. And so we got a little bit of a pump the day before yesterday, as you can see here, but we need to see something constructive here. So this is a 3-day order block, right? 3-day breaker block, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I want to see on the 12-hour bullish market structure. So if I'm looking in a 12-hour order block, right? And I'm always telling you guys, right? Okay, you have your 12-hour point of interest, then you zoom in to the H1, right? And on the H1, we're looking for our, you know, our little fractal friend. Well, same shit here, just different fucking lens. 3-day block. Okay, now we're on the 12-hour. I would like to see something bullish here happen on the 12-hour. Maybe it's a sweep of this low and then a break of this high. That would be a clue that potentially we are bottoming in here. But as much as I would like for us to form a low here within this demand, it's not going to happen until we start seeing some bullish price action. So here's a little bump. Okay, great. Now what? Right? Because if we just trade lower here, this was just a lower high. So I need to see maybe a higher high, or like I said, maybe we get a sweep, right? And then a higher high. But we need to see something bullish here happen on a decently high time frame, right? Because this is a 3-hour order block, you know, looking on the hourly and saying, oh, look, well, we made a higher high on the hourly. It's not enough. I need to see something substantive on a higher time frame. I'd like to see some bullishness form here within this zone, but it's got to be on a high time frame, the daily, the 12 12 hour. Maybe the 4 hour is enough, but this is a 3-day OB. So I need to see something happen here. Yeah, this is, the potential of something. The selling's kind of lessened here. We've got a nice pump up here, but now I need to see more. So whether that's a higher high or it's a, maybe we get a high here and then a run of a lows and then a break of that high. Something bullish needs to happen here on a significant time frame, for me to get confidence that, this thing is indeed going to bottom in this area. So with that being said, looking at Ethereum versus USD, we had this move up, pretty decent rejection here. We're still bearish within this H12 range. So to me, this is a retrace that, it's one to short. And, maybe this is the lower high here. You probably have a OTE right there. There you go. So right into your sweet spot there for the lower high. A lot of alts gave very similar types of retests. So a lot of alts kind of gave this same kind of retest, right? Big deviation, back below and just rejecting. So, if you're a bull, that's not necessarily what you want to see is these rejections here. These all look like lower highs, on these altcoins here. Lower high, right? Lower high, sweep. So a lot of these had big red days yesterday. Unfortunately, the market is looking a little heavy still. Very similar level to Ethereum, but Ethereum specifically, like this is just a clean level, it looks like, right in through here. Clearly this is resistance. We broke above it. It offered no support, and now it's acting as resistance again. So that's not what you want to see if you're bullish. On altcoins or on Ethereum, it looks weak. The high time frames, looking a little bit sketchy. The monthly candle, very similar. The difference here, I guess, is it already took out, I believe, it just barely wicked below December's low here. But, this is December's range, just like on Bitcoin. To me, this looks like it probably wants to trade below December's range here as well. I'm leaning bearish, guys. I'm going to stick with that thesis until Bitcoin gives me a reason to do otherwise. I don't think that this is, the end of the world or the end of the cycle and that we're going to, 20K again. I think, 34 to 37K is where I'd like to see the selling stop and then, potentially resume up only. There's a lot of factors right now to consider, but just looking at the charts right now, I'm going to stick to my guns on the short side until given a reason to do otherwise. Like I don't see a compelling reason to long here. We have an H4 sweep, but I don't see this setup here. I don't see it, right? This just still looks heavy to me. So I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait. I will either long higher on confirmation of bullishness or I will long lower after I think the sell-off is, complete or I get some sort of confirmation at lower prices. I don't have an argument to long here, but that's just me. I could be wrong. We could wake up tomorrow to a 10% green candle. So anything can happen. Looking at the dollar, we're kind of consolidating here at a key spot. We've got a weekly order block here, and we've got this 50% of the range, and we're just kind of consolidating here. So if the dollar, right, you can see very tight little consolidation here over the last 2 weeks. If this breaks up and then we have, a continued sell-off on equities, I think that that's probably a pretty good sign. The sell-off is not over yet. Now, something you're going to want to watch here on ES, right? And on NQ and on the Dow, right? Is we're in price discovery here. We're past all-time high. Now, what you don't want to see is us start trading back below all-time high. We start trading back below all-time high. I think that opens up the door for a pretty decent sell-off, and I don't think that would be good for crypto. Still managing to give you the juice. The jugo. That's Spanish for juice. I speak a little bit of Espanol. I don't do English good. Your boy, he survived Mexico. Barely, though. But let me tell you, I was no human. That didn't even make sense. Drinking, eating Mexican street food, smoking cigarettes. Apparently not a cure for the common cold. In fact, might make it way worse. Yeah, tequila and cigarettes, they will not make you feel better. I got fucked up. But at what expense? You have AIDS? Gross. Buenas. Vicodin fixes everything. I'm sure it does. It's fucking eating a massive dick. In what sense? If I knew where Steve Jobs was buried, I would go to his grave, I'd dig him up, and I'd fucking ask him myself. Market's looking a little heavy. Looking a little fucking, how do you say heavy in Espanol? I don't know, but that's what it's looking, whatever that means. El marketo es pesado, amigo. Did you eat chimichanga? Si, yo comido, comar, chimichanga. Pesadilla. Main equals daddy. All right. I believe you, brother. Give me a little leak down a little bit more. Like, can we do a little better? BlackRock wants your coins. Not only do they want your coins, they're gonna likely get your coins as well, because you got fucking paper hands, don't you? Gondo, more like your money, Gondo. Goes to Mexico, already sick. Proceeds to drag cigs, drink alcohol with the boys while sick. Comes back home, still sick. I know. Incredible. Incredible. How's that happen? It's unbelievable.